All right, and we're live. Okay. Let's see the cost. I hope the light is all good. Okay, we have one person online. All right, so guys, welcome. My name is Kuba. I'll give a talk about ice and snow safety today. This is a message for all the people who are not watching this live. As you guys know, we'll wait a few more minutes for some more people to join this live stream. So you can grab a glass of water if you like in the meantime. Okay, we're getting some more. Hello, hello. Hey, Kuba. Hey, Graham. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Daria. And guys, while we're waiting for a few more people, I can tell you guys a little bit about my own background. So I'm from Germany, but I have been guiding for about 7 years. My guiding journey started in New Zealand on the Fox Glacier as a glacier guide. And living there, I learned about the glaciers, about guiding, about all kinds of hazards. And with the skills I had, I was able to travel around the world, working on many other glaciers. And 2 years ago, I ended up working as a mountain and snowshoe guide in Antarctica on one of the ships. And yeah, that was a pretty amazing time. And that's how I also got into the PTGA. This last season, I got my polar guide status, which I'm super happy about. I had the privilege to be assessed by really amazing people just to get some new perspective on some of the things that I was very familiar with, just to get some new knowledge as well. Yeah, that was a really amazing experience. And that also is one of the things that inspired me to give a talk that's something that I'm familiar with. That's snow and ice. Okay, Anais, Ben, welcome guys. It's a full-time job, buddy. I hope everybody's doing fine. I'm in Germany at the moment. I'm at my parents' place. And it's been good. I've been here like 4 weeks now. But it's funny because the last time I stayed here so long was when I was in high school. So it's kind of cool. So we're getting more and more people now. So I'll start slowly with my talk. At least you can present and read comments, not like the old people. Yep, new generation here. Hey Pernille. Hi Helen. Alright guys, I would like to welcome everybody to my ice and snow safety talk. This talk will take about 20 minutes. As always, there will be some time in the end for some more of the comments and some more of the questions. And what I want to do, guys, is I want to take you guys on a journey. And I want to tell you guys my thought process when I'm opening up a route in a landing area. So I will go with you on a landing site and I will go together from the beginning to the end. And I will take some examples from the Antarctic Peninsula that I'm familiar with and that you guys might know as well. Pernille, looking great, Kuba, full-time job. Thanks, P. So let's start with the beginning. Let's say we are in our zodiacs and we're approaching the land. What I'm always doing, I'm always looking up. Like that's the first thing I do when I enter a new place. And that became so normal to me. I do it when I'm not guiding. I do it in the city, I do it in a park, looking at the trees and like, is anything gonna fall on us? And what I'm looking for are overhead hazards. And in our environment, that could be icefall, that could be avalanches, but that also could be rockfall. And I know this is a ice and snow safety talk, but rock is becoming more and more of a hazard thanks to the warmer temperatures. So a big shout out to all the rock fans out there. But with the last summer season in Antarctica that we had, all those high temperatures really exposed a lot of new rocks, a lot of new dangers out there. And one of the landing sites that came to my mind is Denko Island. So at Denko Island, where we arrive with our Zodiacs, there is a big snowy hill, very close to the loading area. And this time, for the first time, I saw it without any snow, just full of rocks. And in my eyes, it looked pretty scary to be under there and just to have passengers nearby walking around freely. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for, any rock hazards, thanks to the warmer temperatures. One thing that helps me to just assess overhead hazards are my binoculars, just to get a closer look, to actually see the size, what we're dealing with. But also really important, just talking to other guides. Their experience, their perspective is so useful when you're opening up a route as well. Just to get some of that help is really great. And you know where we are in such an isolated area that, let's say, a catastrophic event like an avalanche, that we will not be able to really handle it that well. So it is really key to be conservative. But let's say we checked for overhead hazards, everything looks fine. Hi, Sean. Everything looks fine. And we want to continue. The next thing I look for is the ground, what I'm actually walking on. So am I walking on some snow that's on top of rocks, or am I walking on snow that's on top of a glacier? And as you guys know, there are many dangers with glaciers. Yeah, there could be crevasses, there could be moulins, like those big holes. And IATO has very good guidelines, and also it tells us about hazards in different landing areas. For example, we know at Portal Point, there are some crevasses there, and the location is even recorded. But as we all know, glaciers change all the time, so there could be new surprises for us. So generally speaking, you do not want to go on a glacier unless there is an established route that has been checked again. And to check for a route, you need experience, you might need some equipment like a probe. And if you're opening up this route and you don't have any of that, then you should really get someone who can help you out. This really, like, you know, when some people think of crevasses, like fall into them and just being stuck and miserable, it is like, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it is a real danger. So we have to be really sure that we are safe on the glaciers. And also you can ask yourself as well, do you actually know how a crevasse rescue would look like? Is there, like, do you know where the crevasse rescue bag even lives? Is it on the ship always, or do we always take it on land? Is it always with the same mountain guide? So just to know some of those things, I think that could be very crucial if it really needs to happen. This last season also, between us colleagues on the ship, we had amazing knot tying sessions, just learning some of the knots or learning it in a new way. So that was really fun. And that's something to take advantage as well if you're on the ship and you're not so familiar with these ropes and knots, just to take advantage of your time there, and just learning it from the experience guides will help a lot. For example, can you do the 4-second bowline? Yeah. So there are many things like that you can learn on the ship. But of course, it can be much less dramatic than crevasse rescue. It can be just a little snow crack. just a little crack, maybe between some rocks. Somebody falls down and is a bit stuck. Maybe this person is a bit too big to get out themselves. So yeah, you can help out, of course. But what if this guy is too heavy for yourself as well? So remember, you have a whole team of guides with you that can help out. But in this moment, my goal is just to get this person out. So I would even consider asking some capable passengers nearby, as long as it's all safe. And we can make it like a team effort together, you know, just as a team to do it. Because like I said, I just want this person out. So I don't want to wait too long for other guides to come from the other side. While I was on the ship this last season, Ewan, he also suggested, Ewan from the kayaking program talk with Sophie, he also gave me an idea to have a sling with you in your guide pack. And maybe in that situation could be also useful to get somebody out with a sling, or that person can hold with the sling out. Ha, 4-second bowline. You got it, Sandra. So, you know, all of those new ideas and perspectives, I think we can all get better with that. We can all become a better guide with those perspectives. So let's say the ground is okay. Now I check the surface as well. And the surface, it could be maybe hard and slippery. For example, going up a little hill, suddenly this hard, slippery hill could be a big slide line. Or it could be very soft and deep snow, which makes it very hard to walk through that. Or maybe the snow is melted away and now we're exposed with just rocks. There was also a situation, again talking about the warmer temperatures, at Port Chaco. Port Chaco usually is a very nice and easy walk up to the high point, full of snow. But my last time I was at Port Chaco, all the snow was gone. And suddenly we had those big boulders, and just to walk around them and just to deal with it became a bigger challenge than expected. So I'm looking at the surface, and then I'm looking also how capable are my passengers. Yeah, because maybe you have this sporty group and those boulders are no issue at all. So maybe it's okay to continue, or maybe to go a different route depending on how your people are. But also I'm thinking about the objective. And let's say, take an example, Nico Harbor. Nico Harbor has a very amazing viewpoint. The high point is so cool, like you can see a glacier down below, you have a very good view. So the objective is to get there. But let's say you go up the normal way as always, everything is the same, except the last part might be too icy. There might be a huge slide line, too dangerous to continue. So I'm thinking about the objective again, like, this high point is great, but maybe I'm already at a great viewpoint. Like if I just stop and look around. So maybe I have already reached my objective and now I'm just overshooting it. So always to stop and think and look, I think that can help anytime. And not to get trapped in the same habit. Just because we've done it last time, it's, you know, it doesn't have to be the same one again. Now, let's say we continue. Let's say there are no slide lines, everything is perfect, we keep walking, we're approaching our high point. Now, at the high point, there could be also some dangers. Thanks again to Ayato, if we read it before, then we should know about some of the hazards or guidelines. For example, again, at another place called Portal Point. So at Portal Point, at the high points there, we do know that there are hazards like overhanging ice on the edges. Yeah, situational awareness, you got it then. So again, at Portal Point, or around the edges, we have the overhanging ice. And instead of just going up there with all your people like who follow you and just open the place up, I prefer to again stop and let everybody down just below the high point, just to park your group down there. Tell everybody to, you know, take some photos while you're scouting the area. And also, just in case, I leave my backpack there and tell everybody to just stay in front of my backpack, just to avoid any confusion. Then I go up the high point, and remember that your own safety is number one. So yourself, you also don't want to stand on the edges. So what you can do to just get a good visual on how much overhang there is, how stable it is, what you could try to do is just to get different angles from your high point, if possible. Just that helps me a lot to just walk around a little bit, just to see how exposed it actually is. Then I also look at the actual surface of the high point. There might be a little crack that also could show us that this is about to break off down the cliff. So all of those things will help you with your assessment. And once I established a good high point, a safe high point, I mark a boundary. And I'm a big fan of visual boundaries. So I might have my walking poles there, put it down on the ground. But I also heard of guides having throwbacks with them. So that's an even better boundary, I believe. But if you have nothing, then also your backpack should be good enough. And of course, I have the boundary a little bit further away from the actual hazard, just in case somebody does step over. Yeah. Great point, Kuba. Hey P, thank you. Applies to kayak program as well. In my opinion, the guests do not know because they haven't been there before. Exactly. Yeah. So you have this boundary. And the high point, everything looks fine, but I'm also checking out my own position, where I am standing. And I want to stand in such a way that I have all the people in front of me. And I don't want to have anybody walking behind me, surprise me, go wherever. So I watch all of that, but I'm also having a look at the boundary itself. And this boundary, I watch it like a hawk. So just in case somebody does step over, I want to be able to maybe get close enough to pull the person back. Luckily, it didn't happen so much in my time, knock on wood, but that's something good to practice as well. Just your own position, where to stand. Graham, who doesn't have a throwback? Yeah, that would be me. Not outside my zodiac. But yeah, it's a great idea. Definitely, it's good to have your own backpack fully equipped with this kind of stuff. Now, high point is safe. So I open up the viewpoint. I let everybody come in and I tell everybody about their hazard, about the overhanging ice, about the edge, and I tell them about the boundary. I really try to make them understand the hazard so they will also know their own boundary. So that I think you can make a much safer place with this. But also the instructions, like your safety briefing, that is really important. And I believe it's a real art to give a good safety briefing. Your briefing should be clear and people need to pay attention. A briefing should be also brief. And you know, it's a great thing to do some jokes and maybe interesting facts here and there. But for me, those are two separate things. The safety briefing and then all the entertainment stuff. So in that moment, I try to say what keeps people safe. So that's my number one priority. Once I said that, I give it a little pause, you know, digest, and then I can make a joke or something else. And that's just how I deal with those things. And I also try to have a positive language. I try to emphasize on the positive things. For example, stay in front of my backpack instead of don't go there. It's a very subtle difference, but I believe the positive sentence is much more effective. For example, you have somebody who is looking at you, paying attention, but actually in their mind, they're already, you know, thinking about what lens to use or what's for dinner. So just this one word, stay, might be the only thing from your briefing that will stay in their mind as well. Or you could have one of those rebels that likes to cross boundaries and just with this don't do that attitude, you might encourage this rebel to break the rule. Of course, in our industry, we could have a huge language barrier with some of the passengers. So some, you know, hand signals and again, a positive emphasis to stay here, safe here. I think you can make a much, much safer place. Okay. Lauren, formal request for PTJ branded throwbacks. That's a good idea, huh? Helen, yes, get attention and make it, oh, I don't know this word. Watch use of humor for English as second language guest. That's a great point. Exactly. Not all of us are so okay with English. So, and passengers too, you know, they might sound okay, but maybe don't understand everything 100%. So let's say the high point is a great success. Everybody's loving it. Now people still need to go down. And that's something that you should be already making a plan of on the way up. While you're walking up, look at the things that could be a hazard on the way down if people walk down the same way. Maybe the slippery slide line becomes a huge challenge suddenly, and people need hands, maybe spotting. So all of those things, while you're thinking about crevasses, slide lines, overhead hazards, that's also something to take in, just how people can go down. And also to remember it when you're at the high point. Either you make your way down and be in those situations, or it's your responsibility to pass on the knowledge to other guides, to contact them. Henry, how you doing, man? So another way to go down is with slides. Yeah, and slides, I'm a big fan of sliding down. It's super fun. And as we all know, there are also some dangers with that. The slide could be just too steep. The snow could be too hard. There could be rocks. So some of the basics for me about sliding is I want to have one guide at least at the slide, and that guy would be at the top. And the slide has been checked before. The snow around is nice and soft, and the landing is flat. And the guide is also giving a little instruction on how to slide. You know, to put the walking poles out of their own face and just like maybe hold them a bit further away, put any loose objects away, you know, tell people about like, yeah, there might be a little hump, so don't get too surprised. What is Graham? Clarity of those boundaries is super important in case of incidents, so other people, guests, provide, again, so many words, information that, yes, my guide said. Yeah, that's a good point, Graham, for sure. One thing about slides, I'll get to it in a minute. With slides, I feel sometimes people get very excited, and not only passengers, but also guides. And have you guys noticed it? If you were there at Nico Harbor this season, we had some massive slides, like huge ones near the high point. And every time when I was there, I never thought it's safe, just because it's too steep. Of course, maybe with miracle conditions, who knows what could have happened, but in that moment, if it's not safe, we're not sliding. And, you know, maybe people at the high point are talking about the slide. Yeah, the slide is amazing, do the slide. And then, you know where I'm going with this, right? Like people might just get confused and take down one of the old slides. So just to avoid any of those confusions, there are a couple of things, a couple of methods that I can recommend. And one is just nobody is using the S word until the passengers reach the guide who is in charge, and then the guide is introducing the slide. So it's a new surprise for everybody. Another method, especially that the second method works really well if you have a bigger group and it's really spread out, that one guide at the high point is in charge of telling everybody that there is a slide, but only where this guide is. Let's say me, it's only where Kuba is, there's a safe slide. That could be nice if the group is very big and passengers start talking below the slide about sliding. So that could be really good. And remember, a successful trip is only a good success if everybody goes back safely to the ship. So this talk it's a huge topic. There are many more hazards, many more ways how to deal with them. And this was just a very small talk from my own. But the last thing I want to say is just for the people who know all of those hazards, like it's so natural that you don't even think about it anymore. Like you're unconsciously competent in this area. I invite you to every now and then to step a little bit out of it and just to share this thought process that you have with newer guides who maybe never thought of overhead hazards. I think that could be really effective to do that. And for the new guides, this is really your time to improve, to ask the people around you, and to grow and to be your best guide. Shout out to Ben Jackson for the last quote. But yeah, guys, that was my talk. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see what people still have to say. Yeah, great point. Helen, agree on Nico slides. Can you please talk on adapting plants part way through due to change of conditions or other factors? Yeah, so slides, they could change. Let's say the slide suddenly becomes very bumpy. So I would maybe, like, people start jumping too much or getting a little bit out of control. So I would stop the slide, and I think I can improve a slide myself too. Just like I said, stopping everybody and just like knocking it out a little bit, maybe with the help of another guide, we could make it smooth again. Is that what you were thinking of, Helen? Of course, the slide, if people go down the same way, it could just become too fast, right? So, yeah, maybe opening up another slide as well. Question for Q&A from Ben. Keen to hear thoughts on... That's a great question from Ben, if there should be a dedicated crevasse rescue team. I think that's a really great idea. Just like on the ship, to have a dedicated crew for code blue, for like medical emergencies. I think we can do the same for crevasse rescue, to have the people who already have some background knowledge, you know, that you're not starting from scratch with somebody. Because in a real life situation, so much is going on that it's easy to lose your overview and to remember this 4-second bowline, you know, like, so it's good to already have a lot of experience to come into this, and then to get extra training on the equipment to use, what's available on the ship. So I really think it's a great idea to have a dedicated team. Whether that's reality, sometimes it's hard because of course we are so busy, and to keep practicing, but we need to make time for this kind of stuff too. And also to know what's inside the bag too, the crevasse rescue bag, and to keep it holy, not to mess with it, not to open it, so there are no surprises with it too. And yeah, and then it's always great to get, if possible, to get some time on the ice or the snow to actually practice anchors, or just to do a real crevasse rescue, just for practicing, like if there's an hour time or something, or if there are spare guides. I think it's a great idea. Then of course in that moment, maybe all the crevasse rescue team is like so far away that you might have to get the new people to help you. So yeah, it really depends. But I really like the idea of the team. Thought process you go through, not necessarily a Nico. Helen, are we still talking about slides, or good response, Kuba, situational awareness? Yeah, things change all the time, so we can't get trapped in the same habit, and all of us need to be on the same page, right? So just to be ready to make a change, or maybe to change also the route from the high point to another way. Helen, general snow and ice changes as landing progresses. Yeah, definitely. Throughout the day, it gets warmer, more melting. Yeah, yeah. There are many things to consider. Like I said, it's a huge topic, and it's great to get a lot of responses. I think I will start to wrap it up. And once again, guys, thank you so much. I'm happy to continue chatting here on this group. Or if you want to send me messages too about it, no worries. Kuba, how do you manage people with different levels of skills and fitness? I don't manage. No, just kidding. It's, I would say, depending on the whole group. Like if I have a couple of fit people, but the rest of them just really suck, then I might be able to take them snowshoeing, or that's always the challenge to have mixed groups, right? What I do sometimes when I'm taking people out snowshoeing and I have a very mixed groups, then maybe the people who are not so fit, like we call it a high point with everybody. And then if I have another guide available, maybe those people are walking down and then I can continue with the others. So yeah, it's tricky. Like I don't think we have like one solution. It really depends, right? So guys, huge thank you also to Lauren, who made it happen. She's an absolute rock star to give those PTGA talks a chance to get the people organized to do them. Remember, there will be more talks Monday and Thursday, so make sure to watch them as well, to tune in. And yeah, guys, that's it from me. Thank you guys so much again. All the best to you guys. Stay safe out there and catch you later. Bye. Okay, finish.